So I like whole mining. It's near and dear to me. I thought it'd be interesting to see what they say you need to do. And obviously they say this is so you can discover how to mine from your home in 2025. And right away, like I read the key takeaways and I was like, rage. So the first one is lottery mining is cheap and fun, but don't count on hitting a block. Obviously, I'm anti-lotto mining in general. I don't think that it's a good practice. Like, I built this channel on real numbers, actual revenue, generating real revenue, treating crypto mining in the home like a business. If you aren't going to be doing that, I don't see the point in doing it. Go buy a lotto ticket. I think it's stupid. Now, are there other purposes for those lotto miners that are relevant? Yes. So mining things like Digibyte, right? Or like other cryptocurrencies, speculative mining SHA-256 releases that you see on mining pool stats. There's some uses for them, okay? I'm not going to poo-poo over the entire design or anything like that. There have been cool things that have come out of it. I think that you can find uses for them. I don't think lotto mining is a good idea. So it does say solo ASIC mining. It's a long odds game. You know, if you're, once again, it depends on what you're mining. If you're going to say, buy an S19 and solo mine with it, I'm going to say that's almost the equivalent of a lottery miner and say, probably don't do it, right? That being said, if you're going to buy an S19 Pro and you're going to load firmware on it and then you're going to solo mine Bitcoin Cash, well, then maybe it makes a little bit more sense, right? But your goal as a miner should be to stabilize your revenue so that you can actually treat it as a business, even if it's as low as buying a single S19 Pro, finding energy cost or a host that will make it profitable, throwing it in there, and maybe it makes 50 cents a day. At least you're doing something. And that's going to train you in the ways of, all the greats, which would tell you invest in assets, not liabilities. And it's a cheaper way to do that, right? That was the appealing thing about crypto mining to me from the very get-go, was I was definitely into like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that sort of like self-help type stuff. I thought it was interesting that it was an asset that I could actually afford and generate revenue with, and it offered good practice, right? That's what it did. So, throughout 2024 and 2025, you've seen a whirlwind of institutional investment from companies like Strategy, which continues to aggressively accumulate Bitcoin. And Metaplanet, Japan's listed company that recently adopted Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. Moreover, on the regulatory front, the return of President Donald Trump administration signals a friendlier stance towards crypto, with talk of rolling back SEC overreach and possibly supporting US-based mining. Across the Atlantic, regulation has gone into effect in the EU, offering clear guidelines and reducing regulatory uncertainty for retail investors and miners alike. Then there's the price. Bitcoin finally broke the $100,000 resistance level in early 2025 following a post-halving supply shock and increased ETF-driven demand. I don't think ETFs are a positive impact. I think they're having a negative impact. So as institutions pour in and supply tightens, more individuals are reevaluating how to get involved. So they give us all these options. I don't think we need to really cover them. Like, obviously, it's going to promote the BitAxe. I think everybody here is aware of the BitAxe. Every KOL in crypto mining and their dog has covered it. I don't think I need to cover them. You should be aware of what they are. They're typically little single ASIC chip on a small PCB with some form of tiny cooling. And you point it at like a solo.ck pool is pretty much what they're doing. And then you see if you'll, get lucky and hit it like a scratch off ticket. I think investing in these, the problem is it puts you in the right, I'm going to say it this way. The problem is it puts you in a bad mindset, which is a gambling mindset. And when you get into that mindset, you are potentially going to it's going to affect you everywhere else in your life. Like if you keep buying them and all you're doing is like you're consuming and you're not producing, right? Effectively. You have the chance of potentially producing one time. And that mindset, unfortunately, I think is going to get you kind of chasing that dragon. There is a problem in crypto that is more apparent like in meme coin trading. And I think it's a big problem overall though. But it's this idea that like, oh, well, on the next thing or the next thing or the next thing, or I failed here, but I'm just going to keep running this solo miner and maybe it will hit. And oh, well, there's a new solo miner that has better efficiency. Let me drop another 300 on that new one. And you're just chasing that dragon. And I don't honestly, I think it's bad. Like, I think it's bad for everyone involved. I think that it has a negative mental impact on you. And I don't think that it's a good idea. That's how I feel about it. And that's just coming from my own understanding of myself and the way that I function too. Like it's definitely been like, I don't know. Everyone remembers being like 18 and buying way too many lotto tickets at one point or something, right? Where you're like, I'll just buy another scratch off. I'm at the gas station. And then before you know it, you spent, $100 that week on scratch offs and you won 2, that is effectively what buying these are. And so I don't like that they're promoting that as home mining. It is what it is, right? So if lottery mining is like buying a single ticket and hoping for a lucky break, solo mining with an ASIC is showing up with a small stack, your chances improve. I think this is ultimately the same thing at the end of the day. I don't think solo mining is good. Also, running one of these, there's a lot of problems here, right? So this is for home mining. So from the home mining perspective, buying an S19 is going to be very loud. You could buy some fog hashing single units, which I guess, spend another, $1,000 on that setup. It is kind of weird that they say you could get a high-end model like the S21 Pro or Hydro delivered, but anybody in the know knows that's a bad suggestion because the S21 Hydro has proprietary hookups for liquid cooling. Now, there are options and packages you can buy, third party that'll allow you to run that at the home and be quieter. Sure. But then you're going to have to worry about additional points of failure, etc. I don't feel like this was written by anybody that's actually done any of this before. That's my 2 cents on this, right? And then they go through if you run one S21 Hydro, which you're not running at home, more than likely. Yes, like I said, you can, the real nerds have obviously options to run them at home and it's been done, but it's not like you're going to I don't know why you would recommend this to people that have never mined before. I guess is what I'm saying. But it's you'll have a 1 in 8.6 billion chance of finding a block with one S21 Hydro. Which, by the way, let's go to hashrate.no, and we go to ASICs, we're already on S23s. It's getting crazy. So an S21 Hydro on a pool is going to net you almost $8 a day. So if you're mining on an S20, the suggestion should be put it on a pool and make $8 a day. What is that, right? So let's say 8 times 365. That's $2,920 a year in profit. That's what they should be suggesting, not solo mining with the damn thing. It's crazy. So a DIY ASIC mining setup. This article doesn't cover. Oh my God, it gets worse. Right? You guys saw that, didn't you? It doesn't cover GPU mining, CPU mining, or FPGA, which are all better options for home mining, right? From an infrastructure perspective. And then, of course, it suggests cloud mining. So cloud mining lets you rent hash power from a remote provider who runs the hardware on your behalf, and you don't have to manage the equipment, deal with the heat or noise or blah, blah, blah. You buy a contract, and if all goes well, you receive a portion of the mining rewards. 9 times out of 10, this has not been positive. So there are like 2 places where you could do cloud mining that kind of makes sense, right? Like Nice Hash or mining rig rentals. The problem with those is like they are so competitive with the market that your margins aren't very high, right? And then if you find one that has high margins, well, that's less of a good thing and more of a red flag. So with cloud mining in particular, like the higher the margins or the return, the more likely you're getting scammed at some point, right? So I think it's very impactful to negatively, I think, on the perspective of mining in general, because the thing is like every cloud mining platform that has come up in the past, right, has ended up collapsing. So this is a new trend I've been noticing a lot lately, and I think it's going to go down a bad path like it has in the past, but maybe there'll be one or two good ones out there. I wouldn't recommend it at this time. Like I said, in the past, I've seen these fail a lot. Holding your coin, holding your contract payments, not mining, stealing hash power is a big common one. It's just not advisable at this time, right? I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.